The Information Age, a time of rapid change in American society without precedent. The new influx of media altered everything: social structures, religion, even political rhetoric. But what caused this massive spring of strange new ideas?
Memeism is a very peculiar belief system in that it wholeheartedly embraces the kind of polytheism that historians thought died out long ago in the Western culture.
Can the answers be uncovered in their intricate social interactions?
If you look at ancient transcripts of the conversations they had over the Che book, you begin to see special patterns emerging. A new set of linguistic elements, almost a new dialect for the exclusive use of the elite.
Or will the answers remain hidden? It is March 14th, 2011, and political upheaval is on the horizon. The Mimas youths have forgone traditional warfare and have chosen to revolt in the form of rhetorical insurrection. The message: the old order is over. The vehicle: Friday.
What Friday was the clear, biting satire of the way the young people were being treated by traditional society. If you look at the lyrics, they're all fairly obvious. For example, yesterday was Thursday, today it is Friday.
The young people were saying in effect that the amount of information they were accustomed to taking in was vastly larger than the amount that the adults were providing them with in this educational system. Friday was their way of saying that they were tired of being patronized like little bunny rabbits and demanded that their special culture be recognized.
After Friday hit the electronic newsstands, the young people, now beginning to form their own religion, memism, were quick to rise in power. The movement gave way to what was commonly known as Occupy Wall Street, which has been depicted in various forms of Mimas religious art.
We don't know much about most ancient American religious traditions, but memism? We know almost everything about memism. Why? Because there was so much religious art.
After the long battle fought by the Memis to have their beliefs accepted by American society, they immediately filled the nation's media outlets with their depictions of their many gods.
Here is a reading from one of their Gospels, Forever Alone. Doorbell rings, internet bill. Fascinating.
They had benevolent gods, warlike gods, hostile gods, even gods that seemed to be ascended humans. But for a long time, historians had a hard time discovering who the main god was. Then they found it: the cat.
Evidence suggested that the Mimas had one supreme deity, and he was known as Lol, the cat.
Not only did Lolcat appear in many situations, he also appeared in many forms, including the Wise Instructor Cat and Rainbow Bridge to Bahia Cat. It was safe to say the cat was everywhere.
Even for Americans who hadn't conformed to the Mimas way of life, it was hard to avoid these frequent glimpses of artistic expression. It was even harder to escape the complex new social structure that evolved from the Mimas religion.
Usually, you'll see one of two things happen. Either an existing language will slowly become associated with a certain cultural group, or a certain cultural group might choose to speak a certain language. What you don't normally see is an entirely new language sprouting up within a matter of decades, seemingly created by a group. When something like this happens, you know it's not organic. It's deliberate. The language is not solely a method of communication, but rather a status symbol.
If you look at ancient transcripts of the conversations they had over the Che book, you begin to see special patterns emerging. A new set of linguistic elements, almost a new dialect for the exclusive use of the elites. Anyone can say, for instance, laugh out loud, but only certain people have the spiritual authority to say LOL in the tongue of the cat god.
But this new religious movement didn't stop at changing the language of its followers, but also the face of their social interactions.
It got to the point where people were no longer just talking to each other or calling each other on the telephone. There were different levels, if you will, of social interaction. each with its own specific set of rules, and it was almost always the rule that one member of a caste could not speak about their network to a member of another. But each of these groups were vastly different. They were all bound together by the pervading sense of what was acceptable and what was not. For instance, it was a culture very critical of failure. In fact, pointing out failure was one of the oldest members' traditions, even older than the death ritual.
The amount of art historians have found documenting the death ritual rivals the bulk of even the most popular of advice gods. Thought to be a spiritual reminder of human mortality, the death ritual involves an American lying flat, like a plank, on one of many surfaces.
Regularly engaging in the death ritual, or planking, as the local people called it, mimists were basically saying, hey, I can die anywhere, at any time, and I'm okay with that. This enduring idea of death happening anywhere at any time is why they went through more and more effort to find unique places to plank.
Within weeks, the death ritual had overtaken popular culture, cementing the mimist place in American society.
It would have been truly unusual to find someone of a younger generation who wasn't a completely obsessed follower of memeism.
Memeism was definitely overtaking most other worldviews, but soon it would have to compete against another movement for the allegiance of the youth: hipsterism.
Suddenly, we're seeing the hipster population triple, maybe even quadruple in a short amount of time.
Would hipsterism and memeism continue to be at odds? Who would be the victor? Find out next week on Hidden Secrets of Ancient America.
The cat was everywhere.